Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for the 39th Annual Owners Meeting of Scottsdale Camelback Resort. We hope that bringing the meeting to you electronically will allow more of you to stay updated with what's happening at the resort and to find out who won the 2 seats available on the Board of Directors for the year 2022. The meeting today will last about 60 minutes, and I'm sure that you will learn a few things that you did not know. And if you have any questions after watching the meeting, please don't hesitate to send an email to myself or to the front desk under scottsdalecamelback.com, and we'll be sure to respond to you. Thank you. Have a happy holidays.
Good afternoon, fellow owners. I am happy to welcome you to the Scottsdale Camelback Resort Association's 39th Annual Owners Meeting. And this is actually our second owners meeting that we're having via video. We are open now for our meeting, and the first item on the agenda is a roll call. And to my right, we have Kathy Griffiths, our director. Cindy Farron is our Vice President and Secretary, and to my left is Chris Mosley, our Treasurer. Also in the room we have Lori Enswitzel, our Managing Agent and General Manager, Eric Downey, our Director of Operations, and Barbara Goldsmith, our Executive Assistant. So before we move on to the remainder part of our agenda, I'd like to make a few comments regarding things that happened at the resort in this year. We thought that we were through with COVID, but it turned out that that was not going to be the case. So we have continued to ask our guests and owners to self-distance. We are offering some additional housekeeping services, and we are paying attention to the high traffic areas, keeping them sanitized and in good shape. I looked back for our occupancy rate, and in 2021, we are standing at about 78%. And in 2019, that was our last full year of operation, we were at 75%. We thought that this bodes well, that we had a small uptick in occupancy. People want to get out and travel, and we think that that will continue on in 22. Another occurrence in 21 was that we had to say goodbye to a longtime Director of Customer Services or Guest Services, Robin Fries. Robin was well respected and we miss her. However, we have a new lineup of management team, and they are doing well in learning the ways of how the operations work here at Scottsdale Camelback. We run a very efficient operation, and that efficiency allows our management team and the board to not focus on day-to-day operations as much as looking at what is there going on in the future in the timeshare industry, which, like everything else, is always changing. We offered a picture of some of the items that we are working on this year, and we sent out a owner survey. And thank you to all of you who responded. We are interested in what you as owners are looking for presently and what you see for the future. So these new operations, or these new programs that we introduced in 21, we will continue to focus on in 22. I can assure you that the board and the management team work very closely together, because we are always looking for any type of program that benefits the resort, which benefits the owners, and particularly a program that generates additional revenue that is not part of our assessment and, of course, does reduce our assessments. That's one of the programs that Scottsdale Camelback has had in place for many, many years, and it has always been beneficial to the resort. We are considered a legacy resort, and we clearly have a great reputation within the industry, and our goal is always to remain that way. We are a RCI Gold Crown resort, and we have been in that category since inception of our resort. Every year brings changes, and our management is experienced and they're well prepared to take on any challenge that may come about. 22 is our 40th anniversary year, so we will be celebrating that milestone as the year progresses. So we hope that more of you will have an opportunity to visit the resort. We will be here with smiling faces welcoming you back. So now let's go back to our agenda, and the next item is a proof of notice, and our Vice President and Secretary, Cindy Farron, is going to handle that part of the agenda for us. Cindy?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Cindy Farron. I'm the Vice President Secretary for the Scottsdale Board of Directors. I am now going to read the proof of notice. The date of the 2021 annual meeting of the Scottsdale Camelback Resort Association, Incorporated was established on December 4th, 2020, and published in each issue of the association's newsletters in 2021. Final notice of the time, date, place, agenda, and candidates for election was included in the 2022 assessment billing. A copy of the newsletter is submitted as proof of notice. Now I will read the establishment of quorum. Article 3 of the Association Bylaws, Section H, provides that the presence in person or by proxy of the holders of 1/3 of the total membership entitled to vote at any meeting shall constitute a quorum. 1/3 of the total membership is 1,887, attendance by proxy. Now, I'd like to say hello to everyone. Hello to all of our owners. Thank you for signing in to watch the recorded owners meeting for December 2021. Again, my name is Cindy Farron. I'm the Vice President and Secretary for the Board of Directors. All of the officers on the Board of Directors are here because we want to always protect the interests of all of our owners. And we are owners too. I have been an owner since 2004 and ran for and was elected to the Board of Directors in December 2009. We know that the pandemic has been hard on a lot of people. My husband and I have stayed at the resort here 2 times since the pandemic began, and we have felt totally safe. We really enjoy the food, the people that stay here, the people that work here, and the very relaxing atmosphere. Please keep enjoying your timeshare, and please enjoy watching the remainder of the owners meeting. Have a wonderful day. Merry Christmas to you and your family, and a big thank you. I'd like to read and approve the prior meeting minutes from last year's meeting, but I'd like to ask to waive the reading of the minutes at this time. And I'd like to see if anyone has any recommended changes to last year's minutes. Nobody? Okay. Based upon that, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve last year's meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mary. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Kathy. Upon that, we will move that the last year's meeting minutes are approved. Now, I would love to welcome Chris Mosley to read the treasurer's report.
Hi, I'm Chris Mosley. I currently serve on the board of directors and serve as treasurer for the board. At this time, I would like to read and provide the treasurer's report, balances as of October 31st, 2021. We currently have in 2 banks, in 10 different accounts, approximately $1,850,000 And our assessments collected for this year currently are $4,316,747, or 80.25% of total assessments. In comparison to last year, that percentage of assessments collected was at 82.83%. And we have dispersed year-to-date $60,429 for property taxes, and that is the treasurer's report.
Thank you, Chris, for giving us the treasurer's report. And next item on the agenda is our management report, which is going to be handled by Lori Entwistle, our managing agent and general manager. Lori?
Thanks, Mary. Good afternoon. Again, thank you for tuning in today to listen to the management report as well as the annual meeting. We appreciate your active participation in the association. So let us get started. If you stay on property in 2022, you will see the same presentation at the owner's update, and this is pretty common of what we do at that owner's update on Tuesday morning. So try to work that into your vacation. First thing I wanted to talk about is challenges that we have in 2021, and that starts with our recruiting and retaining staff. And so this isn't a new problem for us. We have spent several years short of staff in all departments. We find it challenging in this valley of hotels to recruit the perfect person, but we do our very best. This year has been a larger challenge than normal, and that's pretty much common across the country. We know that a lot of hospitality workers left in 2020 and found other jobs. Lots of bonuses were available for grocery workers and retail, and all of those areas have diminished those candidates that are perfect for our front desk and our maintenance department, etc. So we'll continue to find great people to greet you when you arrive at the resort and to make sure that all of our standards remain high. I would like to point out that in spite of our labor shortages, we are number 11 today on TripAdvisor out of 95 resorts in the Scottsdale-Phoenix metro area. We're also just been nominated and affirmed our 2022 Gold Crown designation with RCI, and we keep our Select designation with Interval International. So in spite of our challenges as far as recruiting and retaining labor, we maintain those high guest standards that you're used to. Similar to our staffing issues, we have challenges with vendors, and we have several different projects that are all reliant on outside contractors. Our general policy is to get 3 bids, analyze those, and select a vendor. These days it's very difficult to find one vendor to provide a proposal. When we select a vendor, it can be a 4 to 5 to 6 month lead time to have him come on property and begin the project. We already work on a very tight schedule as far as villa renovations and maintenance work. We'd like to do some work on the pool deck, which requires closing the pool. So we always tie in multiple projects when we have to close the pool. That's almost impossible to do this year, to coordinate more than one vendor. And in conjunction with that, the engagement of the vendor and their labor has been at a premium. So we are working hard to overcome those obstacles. Again, we typically and will continue not to defer maintenance in any way. These projects are really more of enhancements to the property and not critical to our ongoing business. And third, we, like many of you, I'm sure in your businesses, are having difficulty with supplies and the product. So the food vendor that we use, our purveyor, was out of Coca-Cola last week. That's something that we've seen in years past. Another major food provider no longer is delivering to small restaurants or accounts of our size. All of these supply issues that we hear about in the news every day certainly is affecting us at the resort, And as Mary mentioned in her opening comments, we're running at a higher occupancy than we did in 2019. So the picture is we're short-staffed, it's hard to find product, and we're busier than ever. But in spite of all of those things, it's been a great year, and we're looking forward to 2022 and maybe those things leveling out and finding some balance. Moving on to 2022, we have several reserve projects in the budget, and we look forward to doing those. The first is a Sea Villa renovation. So we will do a renovation to all 9 Sea Villas in 2022. This includes primarily the soft goods, and we talk about that being the bedding and those goods that have a high traffic and a short life span on them, bedspreads, etc. So when you visit the resort, we will have a color board in the lobby for you to take a look at, and as always, you're invited to tour those Sea Villas. The renovation occurs later in the year, so check with the front desk and see where we're at, but we would love to show the new Sea Villa to you. We will replace the HVAC in the clubhouse. This completes the renovation of the HVAC system throughout the entire clubhouse. We will do the gallery or the upstairs meeting room in 2022. We always purchase housekeeping equipment. This includes floor machines, vacuums, maids, carts, etc. And spa equipment. As you know, we have a bustling spa now on property, the Running Water Spa, and hydraulic massage tables, facial steamers, all of that equipment periodically needs replacement as any other department. Not a particularly glamorous reserve project is our lift pump replacement, but very necessary. It's a piece of plumbing equipment that is very expensive. Pool furniture, we've made the renovation or the change in our pool furniture from the strapped chairs and chaises to a sling fabric, and we will complete that process in 2022. Computer equipment, we have about 43 desktops on site, and it is on a 5-year replacement cycle. Other projects include the grill bar renovation. So this one is a great idea, and it came from the food and beverage manager, Chef Drew, who suggested this, and we're not sure why we didn't do it sooner. So the bar primarily services the pool deck. However, at many times of the year, it is warm on the pool deck, and that really runs from about May to October. It's 78 out on December 1st today. So the problem is that we very often can't maintain product at those temperatures outdoors. By moving the actual bar inside the dining room and then raising the granite countertop that's currently running along the walls, we will be able to seat about 20 people in the dining room in a bar environment. And then we will remove one of the windows that goes out to the pool deck so that we can offer pass-through service. All of these things are designed to do a couple things. Again, staffing is a challenge for us, and if we can minimize the amount of staff needed in the grill while still serving as much food and beverage as possible to generate revenue, we consider that a win. So many times people would like to get off the pool deck into an air-conditioned environment and continue to be in a bar environment, and we'll be able to accomplish that, as well as have a dining room. So if you don't want to be sitting at a bar, there will certainly be low seats that you can have your lunch or dinner at. And then when, and I say when, not if, when our staff shortage comes to an end and we are able to hire more food and beverage, and if our revenue will substantiate that, we will open the outdoor bar again and have service closer to the pool deck. But all of these changes are designed really taking into account the challenges that we're facing today. And as this year we've done a trial by bringing the bar indoors, and we have found that our beverage sales have increased. So everything points in the direction of this change, and we look forward to starting that hopefully in January. Again, that's dependent on the vendor engaging with us and him being able to get product. It's our understanding that windows are 4 to 6 months out. So we might look for some options for that window, but nothing will happen quick, I don't think, in 2022. Another project that's ongoing is the master and guest shower refurbishment. This is primarily in the A villas. So in the master bathroom, we will put on the spray product that goes directly over the tile, cleans up the shower, and then again in the guest bathroom, we will renovate that for a sprayed on product that will short renovation time and a complete, clean, new look when it's completed. It's about a 3-day process, much less expensive than removing all of the tile and replacing it. And pool deck maintenance, as I mentioned, we do need to put some work into the cantilever edge. That's the edge that runs around the perimeter of the pool. It needs to be removed and new construction applied to it. Again, that requires closing the pool, which is never anything that we want to do, and there is never a good time to do it. So we will dovetail that project with other projects and do them all at one time, which will bring our largest amenity, the pool deck, to a beautiful, complete new look. Switching gears a little bit, I wanted to talk about the industry and where we're at. We are considered a legacy property, and a legacy property is any property over 20 years old. There's about 1,580 legacy properties in the USA, according to RCI, and about 76% of those are 30 years old. About 48% are 40 years old. And again, as Mary mentioned in her introduction, we will be 40 years old in 2022. All of those properties are going through the same challenges that we are going through, and that is owner attrition, which is basically the loss of an owner without a replacement. And that owner attrition happens for a variety of reasons. The obvious is when the owner purchased, they may have been in their 30s or 40s, and 40 years later, we're in our 80s or our 90s, and the travel pattern has just changed or they've stopped traveling. It could be a bankruptcy. It could have been just a variety of reasons. The owner attrition reason isn't as significant as the fact that when we lose an owner, the assessment base declines, and therefore the other owners are going to pay more for that loss of owner. So it's important to remember that the association is the collective owner. So when we talk about an owner versus the association, I think sometimes there's a disconnect in that owners think that it's the owner against the association. And that truly isn't the case. What the board is doing and what I do and our decisions are predicated on what is best for the collective owner or the majority of owners. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that. To tackle the owner attrition options, we have partnered with Premier. And so Premier is truly a partner in that they are an extension of our owner services department. They are sales, they are owner services, and they are experienced individuals in timeshare. The principal is very involved. I speak with him 3 times a week. They are all licensed real estate agents, and the principal has experience in timeshare industry in all facets, as well as large branded properties and independent properties like ourselves. We are extremely fortunate to have the opportunity to partner with a company such as this, because as I just said, it's difficult for us to hire a bartender. It's difficult for us to hire a front desk agent, let alone hire a licensed real estate agent with a broker that can assist our owners with options. And those options are perhaps joining the new membership program or selling the interval they own now. Lots of different options, and that's another reason why Premier is an extension of us. They can customize and talk to owners based on what their needs are, and everyone's needs are different. Very happy to be with them. They will be with us for many years. This is not a short-term partnership. They are absolutely dedicated to servicing our owners and are a great source of knowledge and guest service for us. So I mentioned the membership program versus a fixed week ownership, and I want to just spend a couple more minutes about that. So currently you own a fixed week, fixed interval, and that is the only type of ownership that we have ever had on this property, and that's how our documents are written. The other option is a membership program. And so the membership program allows the member to travel within the RCI network. What we have done on site is dedicate a certain number, 68 to be exact, intervals of HOA inventory to a trust program, and that just means we've transferred ownership from the HOA to a trust, and then those weeks are converted to points and banked with RCI. And so an exchange guest can purchase points and become a member of the membership program and then travel within the RCI network. It is an option to a fixed week, and as we've seen, the general public is more inclined to want to be a part of a vacation membership club or a short-term flexible product like the RCI point system than to own fixed week, fixed time as we here have at the resort. So the trust program really has very little to do with the association. It is merely another program that allows our owners an option to a fixed week program. And again, that's the flexible program. We have a second partner that we joined last year, and that company, Lemon Juice Solutions, is working to update our association documents. So again, right now we are able to sell fixed week, or our model is fixed week, fixed interval. We want to have other options available than just that one to, again, fulfill the demand of the new timeshare owner. As we know, we have Disney and we have Wyndham and all of these large hotel companies that have found great success in a loyalty program or a points program. The membership program does that through RCI, but there's other options that are taking advantage of an exchange network like RCI that doesn't require an investment into a fixed week, fixed interval. So Lemon Juice Solutions, again, is going to update our documents and put us in a position where we have more options available to offer to our owners. So what does the future hold? Simply, we will have owners, traditional timeshare, fixed week, exactly what we have today. And it is my guess that will always be the majority of what our property is about. We have many, many owners that are perfectly happy with what they own, and they come every year and they occupy their week and they enjoy the property, and that's perfect. That's exactly what it was designed to do. We need to find a perfect balance, however, and at one time, 100% of the resort in a traditional timeshare model worked. Today, as we just discussed, there's a lot of other options out there that people are taking advantage of that work for their travel patterns. And so the other one would be the membership. It's short-term, flexible option with access to the RCI exchange network. And so this may not be a program that our owners or you want to become members of, but again, keep in mind that the majority of the guests on site are exchange guests, and they are interested in this program because they are already enrolled in the program. They already are points members. The ability to enroll an exchange guest into the membership program provides revenue to the association. As Mary said, we have additional revenue and we have assessment revenue. Whenever we can provide additional revenue, it keeps your assessment lower. So everything that we do is focused in that direction. We want to generate as much revenue on site to keep your assessment or your assessment increase as low as possible. We will continue to have a rental program, which is a guest, a nightly rental, no commitment on their part. And then finally, at some point, we might have an opportunity to have a whole ownership program on property. So this is one individual would own the entire year in a villa. It's quite a few years down the road. However, there is other options, and that's another option that we want to have the ability to explore. A balance between these four options will keep the association in a strong financial position so that everyone can enjoy the property in whatever manner makes the most sense for them. And I believe that wraps up the management presentation, and I will turn it over to Mary. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori, for all the information you provided all of us as owners. It's always nice to have a review of the management report. And now the next item on our agenda is the election results, and Cindy is going to provide that for us. Cindy?
Thank you, Mary. Hello again, everybody. I'd like to announce the election results. I'd like to say congratulations to Mary Nance and Chris Mosley. You have both been re-elected. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next, I would like to welcome Lori back up to the podium. She is going to be reviewing the members forum with submitted questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cindy. Before we get into the questions that were submitted, I just wanted to again congratulate the owners that completed the survey that we sent about a month and a half ago, asking for your opinion and how you use the resort, etc. Congratulations to John and Kathleen from Wisconsin. We've contacted you twice, so if you happen to be listening, give Aaron a call or an email and we'll get you confirmed into your week stay here at Scottsdale Camelback Resort. Congratulations, and thank you again for responding to the survey, everyone that did respond. Many positive comments. We shared those with the board, of course, and with staff that were delighted to hear that we're doing everything that you expect us to do. So I have two questions that were submitted. The first one, and I will read the question verbatim as they sent it in. The first one says, since the board created a new RCI Points Program Trust for resort-owned B units, destroyed the market for the sale of owner-owned B units. What is the board's strategy to either make whole the owners and/or rebuild a market for B units so the current owners have a real opportunity to sell their weeks without being required to pay $3,500 to $4,500 to the resort or a brokerage firm retained by the board? And that question was from Bill and Jill. So I think I covered a lot of that question in the management report, and I did that deliberately so that we understand what the trust program is. The trust has nothing to do with the association and/or your ability to sell your week. A fixed week resale is worth what someone wants to pay. And what I mean by that is some weeks are going to be of higher value than other weeks. The trust contains intervals that are A, B, C, and D. And primarily they're A, C, and D intervals because they're larger units and there's more points associated with those units. So the RCI Points Program, again, that's a membership program, and the trust simply adds points to provide the inventory to RCI to allow for an exchange. So the two don't have anything to do with each other. Your B unit, your A unit, your C unit that you own, you can list for sale with Premier, and you should list it for sale prior to looking at other options. They will tell you what comparable units are selling for and what your opportunity is to sell that. And again, we need to be realistic. The general public is not purchasing fixed week, fixed interval as much as they're looking for short-term flexible plans, and that's just the truth of the matter. His other question, and it says, sell their weeks without being required to pay $3,500 or $4,500 to the resort. So again, let's keep in mind the association is the collective ownership. The individual owner that is no longer interested in being a member will need to pay to dissolve his ownership, because those that are still interested in being an owner are going to bear the burden of losing that owner. So no one is making money in this situation. What we're trying to do is to maintain that assessment base and maintain the assessment for the owners that want to continue to be a part of the association. I hope that answers your question, Bill and Jill, and you're more than welcome to send me an email and we can further that conversation if I wasn't clear. Let me answer another question that was also submitted, and that is in regards to ownership. So if you own multiple weeks, you have one account. Your account is either current and in good standing, or it's delinquent. So if you own 3 weeks and you only pay the assessment on 2 weeks, obviously you can't, and you're delinquent on 1 week, you can't use the other 2 weeks. You have one account, you're current or you're delinquent. And I think that's clear, and that only makes sense. Again, the association is a collective of the ownership, and the ownership is looking for current owners, and when someone is delinquent, that is a hardship or a burden on the remaining owners. The second question is from JD, and his question is, why are we spending over $1 million for marketing expense when all of the units have been sold? In other words, what benefit do current owners receive from spending this money? So he is drawing these numbers from the owner's budget, and that's great, and I'm glad that someone's reading that budget. Let me explain that for you. The top of that budget, it shows the operating revenue, and then it shows the departmental expense. So he's pulling the number of $1 million from the expense. If you look to the top of that sheet, you'll see the revenue of, in addition to $1.8 million, I believe that it is. The rental program is reflected in the marketing expense. So as a reminder, one of the options you have as an owner is to put your interval into the rental program. If we are successful in renting it, you receive 70% of the proceeds, and the association, which is the collective ownership, receives 30%. Out of that 30%, we pay all of the expenses associated with renting the interval, the travel agent commission, the salaries, all of those expenses. So if you take the marketing revenue and you subtract the marketing expense, you'll find that we're netting about $289 as a net income to the association. Again, that is generating revenue on site that is keeping your assessment low. So to answer his question, what benefit does it serve? It serves to keep your assessment low. 70% of the revenue that we receive, we return to the owner that placed their unit in the rental program. And those were the only 2 questions that we had submitted for the Owners Forum. And I will turn it back to Mary. Thank you.
Thanks, Lori. So we have come to the last item on our agenda, and that is the confirmation of future annual meeting dates, which in 22 will be Saturday, December 3rd. And that's set in our regulations, so there's no approval needed. That is the date that we will have our next annual meeting. So thank you so much for joining us today, and happy holidays to everyone. And I will call for a motion to adjourn our meeting.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, and a second?
I'll make that second.
All right, so our meeting is now adjourned. Happy holidays to everyone.